नाम छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमस्ते चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमस्ते चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमोऽस्ते जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So I hope my voice is audible to everyone. Is it clearly audible to everyone? Okay.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Mataji, you are audible. We can hear you.
Okay. So I will continue reading from the next paragraph from where we stopped yesterday. There are many similar Vedic hymns which definitely establish that the supreme absolute truth is a person, but a person who is not of this material world. The Haya Shirsha Pancharatra explains that although in each and every Upanishad the supreme Brahman is first viewed as impersonal, at the end the personal form of the Supreme Lord is accepted. Another example is Sri Ishopanishad, the 15th mantra of which runs as follows. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishyate. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the maintainer of the whole universe. Everyone is sustained by your mercy. Therefore, devotional service unto you is the true religion of life. I am engaged in such devotional service, and so I request you to please maintain me and ever increasingly engage me in your transcendental service. You are the eternal form of Satchid Ananda, and your effulgence is spread all over the creation, just like the sunshine. As that sun disk is covered by the glaring sunshine, so your transcendental form is covered by the Brahma Jyoti. I desire to find you within that Brahma Jyoti. Therefore, please remove this glaring effulgence. Where the Mayavadi philosophers, they are trying to merge into that Brahma Jyoti, the devotees, they pray that please remove this glaring effulgence so that we can see your beautiful form, transcendental form. So, very beautiful prayer. Oh my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, why this is, oh my Lord, is in itself very crystal clear that we are referring to the Supreme Lord. But because many different people from many different backgrounds will study this, they may kind of misinterpret this, oh my Lord, in any way. Therefore, it is confirmed. The next part is, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the maintainer of the whole universe, and everyone is sustained by your mercy. Even a little bird, I was listening from His Holiness Haladar Swami Maharaj about the life of Srila Sridhar Swami. We many times we come across that as per the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami. So I was listening to this life story from Maharaj, and he was mentioning how Srila Sridhar Swami, he how is it that he came into this Krishna this um, into Krishna consciousness, and how he happened to write the commentaries. But before that, what happened? What was that incident that actually changed his life? So, very beautiful narration. I'll try to put it in short and not take much time. So, So once, so this little, when Sridhar Swami was a little child, he was very, he was not very intelligent, so to say. So once his mother gave him a small bowl, and during those times, the barter system was there. Barter system as in, somebody would give rice, and exchange of rice, they would take something else, maybe oil or sugar or something. So the mother, he gave a little bowl, katori of rice grains, and said that okay, raw grains, and said okay, you please go and get some oil. So now this bowl had a small hole in the bottom. So when this kid was taking the rice grains, obviously, kid as in he was in sixth, seventh grade or 6, 7 years at that time. So the rice grains were falling off from the bottom of the this bowl because there was a hole. And now what he did was he filled oil in that same bowl and he started coming back. So by the time he reached home, his mother saw that that bowl is empty because all the oil had dripped out. Again, the mother filled it with the rice grains and then again said that okay, you go and get oil properly. Again, this child went and then gave whatever was left, the grains, he gave it to the person and then filled the same bowl again with the oil. Again, when he came back, the oil was all had all gone out. So, um, so now the king of that city was on the round and he saw this little child. And after seeing him, he looked at his minister and he said that, Thakurji, okay, oh minister, you said that you can transform anybody into a pandit in scriptures. Can you convert him? Can you make him a pandit? You see that child, he took that grain of rice twice and he got oil in that same bowl and he could not understand. He had no basic sense, no intelligence that he's supposed to close that hole. He has no such intelligence. So do you think that this kind of a unintelligent child can be made a pandit? Um, so the minister said, yes, nothing is impossible for Narsimhadev. Therefore, yes, I can make this child a pandit. So the king said, okay, then we will get this child and I will do whatever is required. He will stay with us and you will train him. I will put him under you. So the king went to the mother and she was a widow. So the king went to the mother and he said that, see, I want to take your child and I want to train him. I want to give him the right education, the right environment, and therefore, eh, do you mind if I take your child with me? Now, this mother, she thought that anyways, I am a widow. I don't. He has no father, and what can be the best thing if the king himself takes care of my child? Therefore, it's better that the king takes my child and takes care of him. So she said, yes, yes, please take him. So the king, he takes this child, and along with the king's own son, this child now starts going to the Gurukul studies under this minister. Now, this minister was a great devotee of Lord Narsimhadev. He's a great devotee. And as he starts training this child, along with that, what he starts doing is intensely praying to Lord Narsimhadev that, see, I have taken this challenge because my faith lies at your lotus feet. My faith is your mercy. Therefore, now I have already committed that yes, I will make him a pandit. So, therefore, I'm leaving this at your lotus feet. You have to make him a pandit. So, now this child very quickly he's able to pick up everything suddenly. He was not a very intelligent child actually, but he starts becoming very, very intelligent and he starts showing signs of extreme intelligence and he picks up everything that is being taught to him. And then he becomes a Pandit very, very quickly. So, Maharaj here, he says that when we see a great devotee or somebody who is doing extremely well in devotion, in devotional practice, in Krishna consciousness, we should know that behind that person there is a pure devotee who has prayed for this person. Therefore, today this person, and even if we think that we are able to do any devotional service, if we see that we are in Krishna consciousness, it is because there is somebody, some great devotee who has been constantly praying for us. And it is because of that great, wonderful devotee's prayers that today we are in Krishna consciousness. It is not by our own efforts. By our own efforts, we cannot achieve anything, let alone devotional practice, devotional service, and Krishna consciousness. So we should keep this in mind that our efforts, yes, our efforts is what Krishna sees, but it is not the efforts because of which we are progressing. It is because of the prayers of a devotee that we are progressing in Krishna consciousness. So then he becomes a pandit. And then when he becomes a pandit, the king himself, he keeps him as his minister. Later, when he grows up, so he becomes the minister because the king thinks that, okay, I will not get a second um, Brahmin like him. He's so expert. So let him do all the yagyas. Let him manage all the yagyas. Therefore, he was given that charge. Now the king starts worrying that, okay, um, he's a brahmachari and he has very strong inclination to remaining a brahmachari. Therefore, any day, because he's so strong in Krishna consciousness and he has so much taste for Krishna consciousness, because who has he been trained by? It depends who is mentoring us. If our mentor has relished the taste of Krishna consciousness, then it is bound to happen that at some point of time we will also relish that taste of Krishna consciousness, because this great devotee is praying for us, this great devotee is training us, is mentoring us, that at some point of time I will also relish it. So, because he was trained and mentored by the pure devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev, therefore he was also relishing Krishna consciousness. And now the king starts worrying, if he remains a brahmachari, then any day he will just leave me and go. So therefore, I have to do something. Now he was not inclined to get married, but the king, he was thinking, I have to do something. So he starts and goes to convince Sridhar Swami. And then the king convinces that, see, you have to get married. Marriage is very important. So all that. And somehow or other, he gets him to get married. Now, once he was married, he was stuck because after marriage, he cannot leave and go anywhere alone. Therefore, he was feeling extreme pain and separation, that he is unable to go further in his devotional practices or the things that he wanted to do as devotional service. And he was feeling very stuck. So he cries day and night. He cries out to Lord, and he day and night he just says that, when will I be able to really relish? When will I be really able to serve you? When will I be able to go deeper into this this devotional services? And very soon they beget a son. And when the son was born, he cries even more that, now at least I only had a wife, now I have a son also, and this little son, little child, it is not his fault that he has come in the world. So if I leave him and go, who will take care of him? Who will take care of this family? And as he was crying, as he was busy, I hope everybody is listening, because there's one devotee who had specifically asked me this question that, do you know what is the pastime of Sridhar Swami? I hope that devotee remembers that he or she had asked me this question. So, so anyhow, now Sridhar Swami, he sees this child. So Sridhar Swami, he looks at his child and he cries. And he was living in a small mud house, where on top these dry grass kind of things are put. And there was a little nest in that, because it's a dry grass. So the sparrows, they come and make nest inside those dry grasses. So as Sridhar Swami was crying and looking at the bird's nest, he sees that this bird suddenly flies off And when it flies, when it takes off, the nest drops down. And in that nest, there was an egg. The sparrow had laid an egg, and the sparrow flies to get something, some food or something. And when it flies off, the nest falls on the ground and the egg breaks. And from that egg, one little sparrow comes out. And if you have seen the little birds, when they come out of when the eggs hatch, immediately they come out and they open their mouth. Oh, okay, the mouth is open because they are asking for food. Immediately they start feeling very hungry and they ask for food. So chee 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 chee, they are opening their mouth and asking for food. Now the mother bird is not there because the mother bird had gone. So the mother bird was not there. Now Sridhar Swami is crying and watching all this. While he's crying, he's seeing all these things happening. That mother bird flies away, the nest falls, this egg cracks, this little one comes out and does chee chee chee, opening the mouth to eat something. And then suddenly he sees that from top of the hut, one straw, little. Now, I don't know if you have seen, but I have seen this many, many times that there are little insects, worm like insects. And from that saliva, they form string like so that, if they want to come down, they put that saliva and that saliva becomes like a thin string. So with that string, they can come down. So Sridhar Swami is seeing that this little worm is coming down from top of that hut, and the string comes down, the worm is coming down, and directly when this bird is doing chee 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 chee, this worm goes directly inside the mouth of the baby bird, baby sparrow. And the baby sparrow is satisfied. Okay, food has come. So baby sparrow is satisfied. Now Sridhar Swami looks at this. Of course, this is Krishna's Leela. For his pure devotees, everything that happens around their life is of course in everybody's life, everything is the perfect arrangement of the Supreme Lord. But now Sridhar Swami is taking lesson from this. He says, Are, this tiny baby sparrow, nobody is looking, the mother is not there. The sparrow was hungry, and this worm comes down, goes directly in the mouth of the sparrow. Who is doing it? Krishna is doing it. If Krishna is feeding this little tiny sparrow who nobody else is bothered about, then of course Krishna only will feed my son. I don't have to worry about my son. Krishna is the one who's going to feed my son. That's when Sridhar Swami leaves everything at the lotus feet of the Lord and he goes out. And that's when he starts writing the commentaries of all the scriptures. So that's how we have the commentaries of Sridhar Swami. So I narrated this, that here everybody is sustained by your mercy. This one line reminded me of this pastime, that everybody, even that little bird nobody is seeing, that worm who is coming down, that worm is also maintained by the Supreme Lord. It is the Supreme Lord who is making all these arrangements. Therefore, devotional service unto you is the true religion of life. I am engaged in such devotional service, so I request you to please maintain me and ever increasingly engage me in your transcendental service. You are the eternal form of Satchid Anand, and your effulgence is spread all over the creation, just like the sunshine. Even when Arjun was seeing Krishna in his Virat form, Arjun was unable to see him because there was a very, very brilliant effulgence covering the Virat Roop, the Vishwa Roop. So effulgence is spread all over the creation just like the sunshine. And as the sun disk is covered by the glaring sunshine, nobody can see the sun disk because it is so glaring. The sunshine is so glaring, nobody can see the sun disk. Similarly, Krishna's effulgence is so glaring that nobody can see the form beyond it without pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service. Nobody can see. So your transcendental form is covered by the Brahma Jyoti. I desire to find you within that Brahma Jyoti. Therefore, please remove this glaring effulgence. What can be a better prayer on this most auspicious Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi to pray that we are actually we should pray that so that we can engage in such loving devotional service firstly, and then so that there is ever increasing transcendental service unto lotus feet of Lord, so that we have that taste, so that we can get that attachment to the lotus feet of Lord. So we will pause here, and Krishna willing, we'll continue reading again tomorrow. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind association. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। गणपति वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री जगत स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। श्री सरकार की जय। पिताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरी हरी बोल। श्री श्यामा